Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to the SpursRelated YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone's doing very well today. Today, we are talking all things transfer news, and as you've probably just seen by the Twitter notifications, Dragusin is officially a Tottenham Hotspur player, and what better guest to talk about that than the man I've discovered actually in the back room. Looks a little bit like Dragusin without the top knot. It is George Achillian. Now, George, it's been a while since you've been on the channel, mate. How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, I'm obviously hiding under here. That's why I'm going to do a little reveal myself. No, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me back on. I'm excited because we've got so many positive things to talk about with Spurs. So yeah, I hope you guys are
It's
doing
definitely a little bit more positive than the last time I think we had you on was probably Conte era. But
probably.
listen, it's been a mad few days. We'll get into things. Appreciate everyone joining. Jack, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, mate. Like we've been saying recently, good vibes around the club, big signings potentially. Is it a new Tottenham era under Postecoglou? I'm sure we'll get into it, but I'm definitely excited. I'm sure you can all tell by the smile on my face.
Love it, mate. Love it. He's even got the Gaza boot in there as well. But like I just said, we had the announcement a few minutes ago. It was enter the Dragusin. I quite like that. But we have officially got our new centre-back in. I don't think the club has announced it yet. I could be wrong, but as per Fabrizio Romano earlier, he will be the new number 6 at Tottenham Hotspur. And we get onto things in terms of the transfer news on that. But also, earlier today, we had some big news regarding one of our longest-serving players in the squad, Eric Dyer. And I'm going to put the word in there somehow, has joined Bayern Munich. I don't know where it's come from. Like, obviously, we've been talking about it for a few days, but yeah, the fee is 4 million euros to Bayern Munich. Personal terms agreed, and Tuchel's already been asking for Eric Dyer. And George, going straight to you on this one, did you see Eric Dyer A, moving, but B, to one of the biggest clubs in Europe?
I don't think I've ever seen someone fall upwards the way that he has done in this window, because it is a mad, honestly. And I think I know loads of people have tweeted it already before, but could you imagine we didn't have like the Fabrizios of the world and stuff like that, and we literally just came into a Spurs tweet that said Eric Dyer's off to Bayern Munich? I think everyone would lose their mind and think like, what on earth has happened there? Look, whether it's I don't know if it's like a sweetener for Harry Kane having a mate there. I don't know if it's. I mean, I know they don't really need a centre back, so to speak, but they sort of need a defensive mid / centre back, and apparently he's the answer. It's a weird one for me, especially given his age. But I was fully expecting him just to see out his contract and leave in the summer. So the fact that we've got any sort of fee for him, which is pretty similar to the fee we bought him for, I'm pretty sure 10 years ago. So I think it's a good bit of business on our end.
Yeah, an amazing bit of business. It works for both sides, doesn't it, really? We've got a small fee for him. We've somehow managed to get him to a club that's arguably bigger than Tottenham, but also, let's be honest, guys, more likely to win a trophy. And he's back with his mate, Harry Kane. I mean, it was surreal watching that this morning. I don't know if you guys saw the when he'd arrived at the airport and he spoke to Pletigol, and he was asked, like, are you excited to join Bayern? He was like, yeah, it's a massive club. And I was just sat there watching it thinking, like, how on earth is this guy at Bayern Munich? Like, it was surreal. I don't know how to explain it. It felt like I was playing career mode in real life. Jack, what do you think?
No, totally agreed. If we're all being honest, if we had Eric Dyer to join Bayern Munich on our January transfer window bingo card, then you probably would have got some good money for those odds. But you know what? Good for him. Good for him. I think we all know that his days were numbered in a Spurs shirt, and he wasn't ever going to fit the Postecoglou style of football. But clearly, Napoli, Bayern Munich, they've identified something they like in him, and he's going to play for probably the best team in Germany. And you never know, he might be starting in another Champions League final again. So, yeah, absolutely crazy news.
Yeah, absolutely. George, I don't know how much you follow Bundesliga and Bayern Munich. How much game time are we expected? Not that I really, hand on heart, care too much, but is Eric Dyer likely to get like any game time at Bayern Munich? Because I mean, they have got some strong centre backs, haven't they?
Yeah, this is the thing I don't know, and it may just be that I'm not following it too much. Maybe they've got injuries that I'm not aware of, so don't hold me to it. But it's a bit weird because he is pretty much going there to be fourth choice. Because they've got Kim Min-jae, they've got De Ligt still, and they've got Upamecano.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of reports saying that it maybe so that he can play defensive mid as well. There's rumours that Kimmich might be leaving, but I don't think that would be until the summer anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a weird one, but it gets him to a big club. He's got a chance, like you said, to play in the Champions League, a chance to win the Champions League and a domestic trophy. So I think it just works for everyone, really.
Yeah, no, 100%. Good move all round. Also, looking like Spence is also going to Genoa. We'll come on to that as well. I want to welcome a few people in the chat. Appreciate all the support recently. I think the last live stream we did, we had like 200, was it Jack? 220, 30 people watching live, which was incredible. And all the support's been great. All the likes on Jack's series. He's doing his walking and talkings. If you guys haven't seen them, where Jack is walking every day with his dog. Ironically, what's he called? Jack Arby.
Arby. Some people think it's named after Timo Werner's old club. I can assure you that's not the case, but I love the puns nonetheless. But if you do like to check out a little walk with Arby and a bit of walking and talking with Jacko, then all the support is much appreciated.
Yeah, love it, Jack. Yeah, essentially Jack's doing 8 to 10 minute videos every day talking about the Tottenham transfer news and giving those opinions, and also gives you guys a chance to, as a Spurs community, sort of give your thoughts on the upcoming sort of talking points. Who have we got in here? We've got Glenn Meadows. He's saying big up George, Jack and James. Appreciate coming in, Glenn. Same as Zach. Good to see you as well, my friend. Boxing Hotspur saying Thomas Tuchel has always made these wild signings at every club he's been at. God bless him for this one. Well, I didn't think I'd be saying that about Thomas Tuchel, who I can't stand if I'm being deadly honest on the stream. But Ads is also saying he's been announced. Dragusin is here. He is here. Are you allowed to play the clip, Joshua? I'd love to play the clip, but I am not risking this channel being taken down, so I will skip on that one. Dragusin's agent is a P word. Well, is he or isn't he? Guys, what do you think on this one?
Isn't he Vicario's agent as well? I saw some people were saying that he's.
Well, I saw that. I think he's got multiple agents, and that it falls into the same bracket as Vicario's agent as well. That's what I saw as well.
It's like
George.
a company, but maybe different people.
Yeah,
like
he's got like lots of representatives. But on Dragusin's agent, in my opinion, yes, as we know, it's rather frustrating being a Spurs fan. We're all absolutely over the moon that he's signing for us, and then he's talking about how he's rejected Bayern and how he wants to move to Real Madrid one day. But at the end of the day, it's their job to do the best for their agent and kind of make him as marketable as possible. So if we're looking at it from a neutral point of view, Dragusin's agent is just kind of keep adding fuel to the fire and saying how lucky we are to have this signing, really, and trying to say how good of a player he is. And maybe he is, guys, like talking about, this is what the angle I'm coming from. You've got teams like Bayern Munich, Napoli, and then maybe one day Real Madrid potentially looking at his services. This is brilliant news for Tottenham because he's not even coming into Spurs straight away to be that starting centre-half. Don't forget, we've got Romero and Van de Ven, who have probably been one of the best partnerships in the Premier League this season when fit. I think that's fair to say, lads, if you agree. And he's coming in to kind of take that spot straight away. So you've got 3 centre-backs there that are of real calibre. So for me, I'm really excited, and I feel like this is a step in the right direction, actually working on building the squad rather than just the starting 11.
Yeah. No, completely agree. Completely agree in terms of the squad, because now we've actually, for Sunday, George, we've got Dragusin. Seems like the paperwork's done and he could essentially start against Man United. We've also got Romero coming back into the fold. Apparently, could be returning from injury, and Van de Ven. So it's like you've got 3 of our strongest centre backs available in a 4 at the back. So who do you start on Sunday?
Yeah, it's a madness. And throw into the mix the fact that we've got Maddison supposedly fully fit next week, which I've got a sneaky suspicion that he might be ready for Sunday.
Oh, George, don't put that out there. You're going to get everyone too excited.
Yeah, look what we've seen so far. We thought Bentancur wasn't going to come back until February. All of a sudden, he started 2 weeks ago. So, like,
on New Year's Eve.
It seems to be a common theme that Ange and co are sort of keeping shush now when players are returning. And I like it. Even if it's just to start off on the bench, if he's just back involved in the squad like Van de Ven was last week, I think that's massively positive, especially with Man City coming up. But yeah, sorry, back to your thing about the centre-backs. I think, personally, I would put Dragusin straight in, only because with Van de Ven just returning, and obviously Romero is a bit touch and go. Apparently he has been training fully, but it's only been this week. I don't want to start both and potentially hamper both's both cases of injuries. I think when we first signed Van der Ven, Ange played him straight away in the next game, started in the next game. So clearly, whoever he's signing, he trusts without a doubt that they can just come in. It's not like when we had signings under Conte. I think a lot of the times he was always like, oh, they need to get up to the speed with the way we play. They need to learn this before we can play them. And that's why we hadn't seen players for months before or after we signed them. It seems like Ange is sort of buying the characters that he wants right now. We all know Dragusin's fully fit. So I reckon he'll start alongside Van der Ven personally, and then Romero to be on the bench in case for whatever reason, if there's injuries or maybe they are worried a bit about Van der Ven's minutes not being last in the whole game or something. I don't know. I think those are the two I would personally start with.
Yeah, no.
Go on, what I was going to ask James is to George. What do you make of, obviously, Dragusin's been playing in a back five at Genoa this season, and he's kind of had to deal with a lot of aerial duels, and they've kind of been playing quite deep. How do you think he's going to adapt playing in a high line and probably having a lot more of the ball, and he's going to have to try and make those groundbreaking passes that we've seen Romero and Van der Ven do?
Yeah, I think to sort of split up into two, I think the first bit about him playing a high line, I don't think that's going to be an issue at all, because obviously I didn't know much about him at all before we were linked. But as with, I imagine all of us, as soon as we're linked with someone, we all sort of going into research mode, trying to find out as much as we can about them. It seems to be that he's not a slow player by any means. He seems to have that sort of aggressive style that Romero has, but is also quite athletic, quite I wouldn't necessarily say quick, but he can definitely track back well. And I've seen definitely quite a lot of clips of him doing that in Serie A, and he's managed to lock off some really good strikers in the league. So for me, I think playing the high line is not going to be an issue because he's going to be able to cover the players. And I think with the back three sort of situation, I don't think it's as much of an issue, especially him playing as a central role, because if you think about with our two centre backs, a lot of the time it's obviously with our inverted fullbacks, they're going into midfield, and it's just the two guys next to each other. Him being in the middle of a back three, he's quite used to having that space in the centre and having to pass it out wide or maybe to a defensive in front of him. So I think that side of things, adapting to a back four won't be an issue whatsoever. Van der Ven was the same. They played back four a lot, but they quite occasionally played a back five, and he'd be the left centre back, and he adapted instantly. So I think that side of things is not a problem. Where it is maybe a bit of an issue is more the passing side of things, because just naturally with how Genoa play, they're not this, like you say, high press, complete passing team that we are trying to be. But at the end of the day, if you break down the sort of passes that Romero and co are doing, especially when it's more from coming from the goalkeeper and passing out, they're short distances. It's not like he's having to play these crazy passes all the time. I think it's just more about having the midfield options to be able to come in and collect off of him and to play it short. So I think it would definitely take some adapting, but I think he's good enough, to be honest with you, to do that role.
I agree, and I think when you've got Ange, he's someone that is willing to put them straight in the deep end. We saw with Mickey Van der Ven, we saw with Udogie, they hadn't started a Premier League game, even Vicario, but especially being your keeper, and they went straight in, and it kind of makes the making of a player. It's like sink or swim, really. So for me, I think he wouldn't be signing Dragusin if he didn't think he was capable of slotting straight in. So I echo all your thoughts. But yeah, what about yourself, James? Do you reckon Dragusin will start this Sunday?
I wouldn't. Similar to what these guys are saying in the chat, I would chuck him in right away, and I wouldn't risk Romero, because Romero seems to be not getting injured too much. But the fact that he was out, he's been out for a few weeks now. We don't want to force him back too soon. If Dragusin's fit, why would you not start him? Throw him in at the deep end at Old Trafford, one of the toughest places to go. But again, we've had pretty all right success there over the last, I say, few years. I'd have to get the head-to-heads up, but I mean, it's pretty even in terms of the wins there. I mean, I remember, I think it was 2018 or 19, we had a couple of Lucas Moura goals and we won there. We've definitely had some success at Old Trafford, and I think what a time to play Man United as well, guys. I wanted to come on to that because, I mean, at the end of the day, Man United are in probably their worst form they've been in, certainly for a few months, if not a couple of years. So I think it's an amazing time to play him. I think it's an amazing time for Dragusin to come in against one of the biggest clubs in the world that are struggling at the moment. So what a challenge. But I think we've got to play Van der Ven as long as he is 100% fit. We don't want players coming in too soon, I guess. Let's go to the chat. Let's see what the chat are saying on this one. Joshua's also saying Dragusin can fill at right back from the clips I've seen. Any insight on this, George? Not to put you on the spot, but
I don't think we'll see him do that, just because our right back's obviously inverting. He's not going to end up playing like a midfield role like our ones do. I think it's more the case of what's really good about him is that it allows Porro to go forward more and to be in the role that Porro thrives in. Because he's able to cover that the exact same way Udogie thrives on the left side, because we've got the pace of Van de Ven to cover for him. Whereas you might notice he's not as forward as much when Davies is there, despite obviously Davies doing an amazing job. You just naturally doesn't have the pace that Van de Ven does. And I think it's similar when you have a Romero or now a Dragusin on the right side compared to an Emerson Royale, for example. You just have that cover to know that Porro can go forward, can attack, and really thrive in that position. So I think it's more the case of he'll do that instead.
Love it.
No, and James, what I was going to mention as well is I agree. I actually think this signing is so crucial to allow the fullbacks to do what they do best and get into the pockets of space, drive through the middle. I think we've seen Porro's technical ability this season, especially if he gets in more shooting positions or more space out wide. Those groundbreaking passes that he loves to do, like we saw when he created the goal for Son, like we saw when he actually shot against Burnley, and what a goal that was. I don't know if you were there, George, behind the South stand, but like to do that technique as a right back, that is crazy. And I think we'll see him score more goals if he's allowed the license to go forward. But interestingly enough, Alistair Gold was actually saying that they were thinking about moving Dragusin to a right back at his days at Juventus because he was very comfortable on the ball. Apparently, he just, as a young player, he was really good on the ball. He was quite relatively quick, good defensively, and liked to drive with the ball forward. So I don't think he'd be that inverted role, but he could potentially play higher forward. Like we've seen, he's very aggressive, and that allows Porro to push on. So I think we've got a lot of options here with Dragusin, and that's what we want.
I think as well, like it's you could definitely see the type of characters that Ange is building around, and like all the profiles of players, because realistically, in his style of play, he is very similar to Romero, and it's almost like the perfect cover in that position. Like you said, he's definitely like a on the front foot type of centre back, where he's going to be up the attacker's backsides, basically trying to cause as much pressure as possible. And I think as well is not necessarily to get too caught up in his passing stats with Genoa, because I can't remember who tweeted it. Someone did it earlier today, but they made a comparison of Romero's time at Genoa as well, and he was probably roughly the same age. Maybe Romero was a little bit younger when he was there. But if anything, Dragusin's numbers were better in terms of like passes per 90, completed passes, this, that, and the other. So I think style of play is a huge factor into how players look. Like 100%. The same way every fan was saying we can't play Udogie and Porro at the same time because we're going to have no one there. Are they going to fit the system, the inverted role? And they've both taken it. It just fits like a glove. So I think we clearly know how to identify the right profiles of players, and he should fit right in, to be honest.
And I totally agree. What I would also say is, if they're good enough, if we've identified them, they're not going to have as good stats of the players that are competing at the top of the league. If you're playing for like a Juventus, Inter Milan, you're going to obviously have less pressure on you. And Dragusin, the more you actually look into it, I think he's had the second highest success rate in his team passing out from the back. I think it's 82%, I read. So realistically, the more you dive into it, which obviously we're not going to do, but the Tottenham scouts will do, you'll see that they've identified probably the right man. And I think, as all us Spurs fans, have the right to be really excited about this.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think someone said he's like tied with Saliba for the amount of times dribbled past or something like that, and it's only Van Dijk that's better off across Europe. So you can clearly see he's quite clearly a very good defender, which is what we need for those centre back roles. It's not just about being able to pass. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do, and what a game to throw him into if he does, or most likely will start off at.
Old Trafford, then Manchester City. We're talking about a serious month, boys. This is, for me, this reminds me of like FA Cup, 4th round against Man City, but Tottenham, everyone feels now. If you remember, we had a massive month under Conte, and I think this was the beginning of the end of his tenure, where we had AC Milan at the San Siro, and then I think we had another FA Cup game where we got knocked out. This kind of has a similar era to it, where it's huge games for us. But now I think all us Spurs fans are going into this game with serious confidence. We're going to have Maddison back, which means we could have Maddison, Kulusevski, Bentancur in the midfield. like we've just got serious squad depth and there's a real buzz around the club. And I think having that Man City game at home, I know I'm drifting off here talking about the FA Cup, it's also going to be huge. But no, I'm extremely excited. I'm sure you two are as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think very quickly, just to touch on like our recruiting is what I like is, and I hate to say this, but look, we sort of had to look at what Arsenal did, right? They cleared out the gutter. They signed players that, okay, obviously they spent a lot of money, but they signed a young team, very hungry to fight, and it's clearly worked to a degree. They've clearly grown in the massive 4 years, despite the fact that they're basically winning nothing. But that's besides the point. What I think they didn't do last year, and what has failed them massively, and what I think's failed them this year, is I think their squad depth and their cover there's a huge drop off. I think they've got a great first team. They still don't really have a striker, but when you look at the second string players they have, it's pretty poor. And I feel like we've always been like that before as well. How many times have we all said, "Oh, we're always like one player away, and we could have won this. Oh, if only we just had if he wasn't injured, then we would be fine." I think what we're doing well now is identifying really good targets for squad options. The fact that Gio has come in, okay, probably injured too much, but being able to cover for Maddison for now. The fact that we have Basuma and Bentancur potentially rotating that number 6 role or filling in another space. The fact that we've now got 3 probably starting level centre-backs that will be competing with each other. And the fact that even Davies has come in and is able to cover the role. It's unbelievable.
In class.
George, I don't know what you think, and I've said it multiple times to James. I think Davies has been reinvigorated this season. He's come in, and he's someone who's always kind of stepped up to the plate. But I think he's realised like now his time to actually prove like how much Tottenham means to him, and he stepped up to the plate. I think his passing has been brilliant. I think his positioning. He's not exactly the most tall guy, but he wins so many aerial duels as well. Honestly, I haven't got enough words for Ben Davies this season. Him and Emerson Royale being fullbacks, playing centre half, makeshift. They've done a great job, and that's, to be honest, probably the Ange Postecoglou effect. Players that feel wanted, that want to be here.
Definitely.
Agreed. Very good points, guys. I wanted to catch up on chat very quickly. We'll do a little bit of an icebreaker for now. Well, it's a bit late for that. But our Sharma's saying, guys, if you had to choose between Indian, Chinese, or Italian, or Mexican, what would you choose? I wouldn't normally bring up a comment like this. I just thought I'd keep it a bit more light today. What would you go for there, George?
Right, okay. If we're talking like every day, I would just have to go Italian, just because of the versatility of the pasta and pizza. But I will say Mexican is probably one of my favorite cuisines, like in the world. I love any sort of Mexican food. So if we're talking in terms of what is my favorite to eat, I would go Mexican personally.
I wasn't expecting the word versatility to come out talking about food. To be honest, we're talking about inverted.
Hey, we're always in analysis mode. We got
inverted fullback Italian. No, go on, Jack. Quickly before we get too off topic.
You know what? Unbelievable question actually, because I'm actually going for a Chinese tonight after this to celebrate this stream with a couple of lads. So that should be nice. But what would I go for? It's got to be an Indian takeaway on a Saturday night. See, Tommy knows he's one of the lads coming tonight. So I'm going to go for. I think you can't beat an Indian, lads. If we're being honest, I think Saturday once a month for me. I'd love a good bit of lamb and a bit of egg fried rice for me. But that would be it.
Do you know what my thought between like Chinese and Indian is for me personally? I think Indian's the best to go out to a restaurant and eat between the two, whereas like a Chinese takeaway, I feel like is elite.
Okay.
That's how like I would with that.
Just not to drift too much off, but go on. Tell the people what they want to know.
My Chinese is a Szechuan chicken with egg fried rice. Is normally my go-to, and then obviously a mix of starters with different people with people, but. Yeah, that's
You're a seaweed fan? You're a seaweed fan out of interest?
Not really, to be honest with you. Not a seaweed kind of guy.
Jack, George, if this isn't your reel for tomorrow, I don't know what is. But
I was on a football podcast discussing what's favorite food.
Anyway, before the numbers drop too much, because we started talking about food rather than football. Going back onto it, I want to hold my hands up because I didn't have a mare, but Timmy L, I wanted to bring up your comment because I said we had a good record at Old Trafford. And to be honest, I think I just remember the good bits where Lucas scored and where we won 6-1 and all these parts. But he's made it clear that we've only won 3 times at Old Trafford. Oh no, he said 4 times in the last 12 years. So I have actually, I've actually got something to share. Hopefully this works. One second. And I don't know how easy that is for you guys to see, but in terms of our head-to-head, it's not looking great, to be fair, at Old Trafford. So last time we went to Old Trafford, we lost 2-0. Then we lost.
That was that bad time where we conceded like 17 shots in the first half. It was like a Premier League record or something like that. Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, I think we got absolutely bad.
James, you were at the 3-2, weren't you?
That 3-2, we should have won. That was one way. We lost to Ronaldo, not Man United.
We played well then. We actually had a good game. I was watching that in a pub in London. I actually thought this Tottenham side are playing really well. And then Cristiano Ronaldo probably had one of his best games in a Manchester United shirt in obviously his second stint there. So
it was only Ronaldo's second ever hat trick that, and I saw it live. I was there as well. I remember seeing you there, George, and I was stood there and like, obviously I was angry because I thought we'd bottled top 4 at that point, and we ended up getting top 4, but I was so angry because, like you said, George, we should have won that game, and it was just Ronaldo, just unbelievable. Like one long range shot, I think one, and then 2 headers. It was just ridiculous.
And that was the game when Dyer gave the ball to him, wasn't it? Or was he like standing off? It was something like he either gave the ball away to him and he shot that long range shot.
That's it.
He just didn't close him down or something. Yeah.
From that way in, that shot was ridiculous. I remember just seeing it knuckleball past Lloris. He had no chance. And then what's the next one? We then, before that, unless I've miscalculated, we then beat them 6-1. And who got sent off? Who did we get sent off? Martial.
I remember Lamella was like, oh, and then he went down. Oh, brilliant.
That was the best COVID game we had.
That was.
Sergio Ray, do you remember that? I think it was like Halloween at the time, and he was at all the celebrations.
And then before that, we lost 2-1. Don't remember that one too much. And then before that, we beat them 3-0, and that was the Lucas Moura game. I'm more certain.
That one as well.
Actually, guys, Timmy L, I'll give it to you. In the last 13 years, it's been shocking. But in the last sort of 5 to 6 years, it's been pretty even, wouldn't you say, guys?
I'd say it's quite 50-50 in the last 5-6 years, I'd say.
So, anyway, so that moves me on to, before we start talking about, I guess, maybe a bit more in depth into Dragusin, and also I wanted to come on to what's the next signing for Tottenham, if any. Before I do go on to that, everyone in the chat, if you haven't done so already, please smash the thumbs up and comment in the live chat what you think is going to be the score on Sunday. And I'll start with Jack on this one.
Score on Sunday. Well, you know me, I don't always keep it short and snappy, so I actually think it's going to be a harder game than we all expect. I think Man United are going to be there to prove a point. I think they need to really show. They've got obviously this new ownership now with Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in. And I think that they might exploit our fullbacks. That's my main worry. I think it's a huge game for Dragusin or Romero and Van der Ven, because if we've noticed this season, there's a lot of space out wide. When Porro and Udogie invert, there's so much space in behind for Rashford and Garnacho to kind of thrive off. And as we know, they're quite direct, fast players. So that is my main worry. But I am going to stay positive because I do believe this will be the case. I'm just hoping we're going to have too much from at the start. I think we'll really pin them back. I think we'll look to dominate possession as we always do. And I'm hoping Timo Werner's going to get his first goal on a Spurs shirt. But it's really going to be whether we can take our chances early. I think we need to make sure we get a few goals early, because if you notice in the first 20 minutes, how many chances do we create? And it's just about if we can take those, and Kulusevski really grabs the game by the scruff of the neck, and Bentancur can dictate the game and kind of keep possession, I would like to think we'll get a big win at Old Trafford, but I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's going to be a great game. So, Jack, you said about a Timo Werner goal. You said about it being a difficult game. Can I get the exact score?
Okay. All right, sorry, I sat on the fence a bit there. I'm going to go 3-2 Tottenham, genuinely, because I think they're going to be up for it, Man United, and I think they'll have a good game. But I can see us just having a bit too much quality for them, and that's what I believe, and that's what I hope.
3-2, that'd be some game. George, over to you. No pressure. We've gone with a 3-2 win. Obviously, very much doubt you're going to go for a draw or a loss, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, to be honest, I echo pretty much exactly that. I think in my head, I was thinking 3-2 or 2-1 win. I think the issue is, as much as I think we are much better than them at the moment, let's be honest, it's Old Trafford. It's a big occasion. We are without Sarr, who's been phenomenal. Son is going to be a massive miss either way. So I think it's going to be a close game. But like you said, I think we just have that bit more quality than them. Obviously we've got new players that might need to get used to things, but I do. The issue with the fullbacks is I remember from the home game thinking that if Garnacho actually knew how to shoot, we would have been battered in that match.
And Bruno Fernandes created a lot of chances for Rashford
Yes.
in the half. Do you remember that header? Oh my word! And that, so there is an opportunity for them to get in behind. That is my worry.
This is exactly that's my worry as well. And I think maybe if Dragusin starts and he's got his aerial ability and whatnot, we might be able to cover areas a bit better. Obviously, Van der Ven would be a lot more settled in the club as well at this point. So I just feel so confident with these guys that we'd have at the back, especially having Udogie and Porro in there. But yeah, like you say, if they exploit the fullbacks, it could be a bit of an issue, which is why I think we will concede. It's not like we're going to go into this game and Man U aren't going to have any chances. Realistically, they're going to have quite a few. But I think we just have the quality to beat them this time around. So I would say a 2-1 or a 3-2 win.
2-1 or 3-2. Love it. And a lot of people echoing your guys' thoughts. I'll give mine in a minute. Joshua's going for a 3-1. Gary is in here. Big up, Gary. He's saying 3-2 like Jack. Adnan saying 4-1. I hope you mean Tottenham. Yeah, he does mean Tottenham. Zach's going 2-1 like George is going for. Hipponoise, a 5-1 Spurs. Honestly, Hipponoise, if you get 5-1 Spurs, I was about to say I'd give you some money, but probably end up knowing my luck having to pay you out. So you get a shout out or something. COYS is saying, I think our main worry is Fernandes having a good game. Apart from that, we should win. Well, judging by Fernandes' performance on Monday night, I don't think we have too much to worry about. The guy's not looking too sharp. The guy's not looking too sharp. And also, just quickly on Fernandes, before I completely get clipped up by all the Man United fans coming in here, I've got to say, he is a disgrace. I'm sorry, he is a disgrace. Because, did you guys see the game on Monday, without changing topic too much? How easily he went down for that penalty was awful. Did anyone see it?
Yes, I did see that. I thought it was he gets a tiny little clip and he throws himself to the ground, which is just, yeah.
I'll just play devil's advocate, and I'd say if he played for Spurs, and I know a certain little Argentinian who did a similar thing in a Spurs shirt, and I absolutely adored him in Eric Lamela. So I can't say, don't get me wrong, he's a pest, but if he played for us, then I'm sure we'd all love him, let's be honest.
He's so annoying. Andre's in here, big up Andre. Shame you couldn't make this one. Hope it's all going well with work. He's saying, big up Dyer, the GOAT, you won't be missed. Yeah, pretty much. Adnan saying he's coming in with even more unbelievable things. I had a dream where Timo scores 2 goals from the bench. That would be nice. Glenn's going 4-2, and I'm a bit behind on chat, guys. I'll be honest. I really appreciate all the comments coming in tonight. Really do. And also, as well as liking the video, subscribing to Spurs Related, and turning post notifications on, because Jack's video is going live every day. So make sure I think there's a little notification bell under if you're watching on phone. Smash them on. It's free to do so. But once you've done all that, please, I've just put it in the title of the video. Go and check out George's channel if you haven't done so already. There's nearly 100 of you watching live. He does, George, in fact, instead of me doing a rubbish plug for your channel, how about you tell the guys what's coming up on the channel?
So we've been experimenting a lot this year. We're doing a lot more with football fans across the Premier League and probably even, more in the future. But it's a lot of, what would you even call them? Maybe like social experiments with football fans. I'll still be doing the few away day vlogs here and there. So I will be doing one for Sunday for Man United. So if you want to stay tuned for that, I will be doing probably a how much does it cost for that one. So yeah, it's just going to be a bit of a balance of some Spurs stuff, but a lot of maybe like broader Premier League fan situations. So it'll just be a good laugh and hopefully some entertaining videos for you.
Yeah, those social videos, like what do Man United fans think? What do Arsenal fans think? They're doing numbers as well.
Yeah,
they're really entertaining videos. And there's been, I watched that, I think it was the Arsenal one, and some of the opinions, they did rattle me, I'll be honest. But I'm sure they rattled you while you were in that studio, George.
I saw you there in the comments.
George, just to butt in, staying on top of that, what is your favourite YouTube content to make? Because obviously you kind of started off in the Spurs, like fan focused, and now obviously your channel's doing really well, and you're kind of broadening your horizons into other channels. What's your favourite type of content?
At the moment, it's definitely that stuff with other fans. Not just because they're performing well, because I made quite a few of them together before I even uploaded them, so I wouldn't know that they were performing well. But it's more that I've done like the Spurs logs and things like that for a good like 4 or 5 years now, and there's only so many times I can show certain stadiums again and again and again. And one thing I've always wanted to do is do videos with other fans, whether it's you guys, whether it's from people from other teams or whatever. And I just saw it as a good opportunity to sort of do things in person with other like sort of football fan creators, and that's sort of what I'm enjoying right now, because I find it a lot easier to bounce off other people than just having to be try and be entertaining myself, because it's very hard to do.
No, completely understand that. But guys, please do go and check out George. It's so easy to do. So if you're on the video now, you don't even come off the live stream. You click on the title of the video where it says at official George Achilea, and you just press subscribe. It's so easy, guys, if you're on phone. But please do that. There's 70 of you in there. Let's get George another, even if half of you have subscribed, let's get George another 35 subs. Alex Apostolou is saying, and it's perfect for the final talking point I wanted for the next, what, sort of 5-10 minutes. I know you guys have got other things you've got to go to, but I wanted to talk about number 8s, number 6s, number 10s. Obviously, we've signed a centre-back now. Dragusin completely officially announced, joined from Genoa. Timo Werner announced 6-month loan. So we've got a striker and a defender. Guys, surely we're looking at a midfielder if we're going to bring in anyone else. I'm going to start with George, because I know, Jack, we've had this discussion already and you've done it on your walks as well. George, for you in our squad, bearing in mind our squad is in some respects quite thin in terms of quality, as we were discussing also with Arsenal's squad, do you think we now need to sign, if any, a number 6 or a number 8?
I think it will be a number 8. And that's what I think we need, to be honest with you. I know there's a lot of talks with people from saying that we need a number 6 because we haven't got cover from Basuma. But I think evidently, as we have seen, and he does it for Uruguay as well, I think Bentancur does that number 6 role really, really well. I think it's just he's just so elegant on the ball, and it's Moussa Dembele-esque in a sense, where once he has the ball, it is very, very, very difficult to get the ball off of him. So I think he sort of suits that number 6 role well. And he's done it well when he has played in the last few games. So I think it looks like it will be between him and Basuma going forward. And I feel like if we were to sign another one, yes, both of them could play the number 8 role. But I think it just seems a bit pointless to me, especially when you look at the options we do have. Sarr has been fantastic in that position, but obviously we don't have him because of AFCON now. But then one day he is going to get injured or he's not going to be available. And then we look at our other options, Skip, Højbjerg, and then arguably Lo Celso as well. I think Lo Celso, unfortunately, despite looking good when he does play, is made of glass and is injured all too often. And I think that can be a long-term issue to have him available. Højbjerg, so many talks about him being sold, going to a different team. Maybe he doesn't want to be around. And I think as well, despite the fact that he has or seems to have some of the best stats for progressive passes, I think when you actually watch the game and see what happens, I think he gets walked past a bit too easy. I think he's just a little bit more shaky on the ball than some of the other players. And unfortunately, I think that goes the same for Skip. I think, unfortunately, with Skip, and as much as we all love a player that's come through the ranks in the academy, is a Spurs fan, Winks was similar. I think the issue with those two types of players is that they don't really do one role amazingly well. They seem to be able to cover the centre mid role in general. Like they're just quite a generic central midfielder. And I just don't necessarily feel like they fit the way we play right now. So really and truly, whether it's going to be in January or in the summer, we'll probably move on Højbjerg, maybe Skip, maybe Lo Celso. So I think definitely a number 8 position is something we'll have to look at, whether that's now. Well, actually, it should be now, to be fair. Yeah,
no, completely agree with what you're saying. The point you made on they kind of don't do anything too well is what Jack, you'll back me on this, is what I've been saying about, especially Ollie Skip. I like Ollie Skip. I like him as a person, and I think he's shown signs where he is a good player, especially under Conte when he was basically playing alongside Højbjerg for a lot of the season. He was pretty decent, but I don't know what it is this season when I've watched him. I just sit there and I'm watching a game, even at the stadium or even at home, and I'm just sat there a bit frustrated, and I'm thinking, Ollie Skip, like, what is his 3 strengths? And I'm thinking that he runs a lot, he makes a lot of tackles, and he makes a lot of fouls. But other than that, what is Ollie Skip? Do you see what I mean? Like, I know that's quite a simple way to put it. Go on,
James, players, I feel like with Ollie Skip and your kind of Harry Winks players, they're quite uninspiring. They're not really the type of players that are going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and kind of change it with one pass. In my opinion, exactly echo both your thoughts. Playing for Spurs through the academy, they know what it means, but I don't think they kind of have that swagger, that technical elegance on the ball to change the game. When you look at Bentancur, as soon as he's passing to feet, he's looking to play forward. He's looking to spin one off to the fullbacks to then start the attack straight away. I don't think Skip and Winks or Højbjerg possess those qualities. I don't think they're comfortable enough on the ball in the middle. So for me, I would like to see Bentancur playing the 6, or I would actually quite like to see a specialist 6, someone like the ilk of João Palhinha, I've said before, to allow kind of Bentancur, Lo Celso, Kulusevski, Maddison to just have that free roam attacking role. We even spoke about like Man City, they play obviously Rodri, who in my opinion is probably one of the best players in world football, because he does that role so well that it allows the people in front of him just to go crazy. Like you have Bernardo Silva, who can play anywhere, but he can play in that free roam pocket of space. People are even suggesting maybe that's a role for Bryan Hill to play centrally if he had someone behind him covering. For me, I think Bryan Hill maybe hasn't got the quality to do that, but maybe it's something to be explored. So don't get me wrong, I'd like a number 8, but maybe a specialist 6 as well, because Bentancur for me is so good going forward. Like he can chip in with the goals as well. I think it's got to be a 6 or an 8.
You didn't answer the question, chat. It was a lovely answer. I loved all the points. I might even clip it, but you didn't answer the question. You didn't say if it was 8 or 6. You said 6 or 8.
The thing is, I didn't give you a specific answer because maybe I'm not 100% convinced myself. Right. I think we've got Bentancur, who's brilliant in the 6 role, but is his qualities better in the 8? I think probably. So for me, I would go for, if we could sign João Palhinha or someone that people are suggesting, a guy from Girona called Alex Garcia, I don't think we'd be able to get him in while he's in a title challenge in La Liga. But if we could bring in a specialist number 6 who kind of allows the boys to have their creative role going forward, I'd go for that.
Whoa. Sorry. Tottenham have just tweeted, I'm so sorry to bounce subject. We have reached an agreement with Bayern Munich for the loan of Eric Dyer. Am I going mad? I thought it was permanent.
I thought it was permanent as well.
It says the loan of Eric Dyer with an option to make the move permanent. So I guess, but I thought Fabrizio had been reporting that it was a €4 million permanent. Or am I going?
Is it an obligation?
No, it says with an option to make the move permanent.
What's Fabrizio said?
That's a bit of a spanner in the works, isn't it, or not? I don't know. I don't overreact.
How does that work? Because his contract's up in the summer.
Yeah.
How can they have an option to buy when he's going to be free anyway?
Yeah,
maybe I doubt Fabrizio's made such a blunder that what I would suggest is maybe the loan fee is what they would be buying him for anyway, and then they get him for free at the end of the season. Maybe it's the way the deal's structured.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's almost like they paid the $4 million as a loan, but then
to then have him for free.
Really weird.
But it's also weird. It's also weird because Spurs have done like a graphic on the tweet saying "Thank you, Eric," with like his last 9 years playing. But that's like as if he's moving on. So why don't they just say he's gone? I don't get it. Weird. It's like I don't know how to say, but it's like a meme. Like he's leaving the door, but he's not. But he's like
someone's just commented. That's funny. I thought it said loan for a second. So time will tell. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's going to play another game in a Spurs shirt. I'd like, maybe it's Bayern Munich last minute changing that they don't want to put all their eggs in the Eric Dyer basket. We'll find out.
We've run out of time. We've only got a couple minutes left, but I was going to talk about Pedro Netto, but we'll have to do it on another video. Zach, I know you're keen to talk about Pedro Netto, and so is Alex, and a lot of people saying about Pedro Netto as a potential 8. George, very quickly, like I said, I didn't want to speak on it too long. Do you like Pedro Netto? Would you see him fitting at Tottenham?
I love him. Yeah, I think he's great. I think him playing an 8.
More of a winger.
I don't know personally. I don't know what your guys have thought. From what I've seen, he seems to be a lot better at being a winger, and that's where most of the threat has been. So unless that's like a summer move, when we don't have Werner anymore, then I'd 100% be all over that.
I guess it seems like he's versatile. Maybe going back to your like takeaway comment, Jack, George. But we'll go to more on that in a minute. But it's all over Spurs official, guys. Go and check it out. It does say we've reached an agreement with Bayern Munich for the loan of Eric Dyer for the remainder of the season. And Dry Roast Peanut, big up, mate. He's saying, Dragusin, wow, love a signing out of the blue. Mistakes are made on Twitter by Tottenham. It's all going on. You know, there's never a dull moment at Tottenham. We're about to wrap up the stream and suddenly we're getting news that it's a loan, not a buy. Who knows? We might even have to do another video, Jack, after this and put it out tomorrow.
It has to be a mistake, surely, because that just doesn't make any sense. It's contracted in the summer.
Guys, go and check it out. I put it on screen, but we're about to wrap things up. But yeah, apparently it's a loan with an option to make it permanent. But he's like Jack said, his contract's run out, so who knows? But guys,
the world
really,
of Tottenham Hotspur, lads. The world of being a Spurs fan, you never know what's around the corner.
that's it. That is it. But guys, I hope you've enjoyed the live. Massive thank you to George for jumping on. George, I hope you've enjoyed it. And guys, please go check out George on YouTube. Once more, George, what have we got coming up on the channel on Sunday? The vlog?
Yeah, Sunday's a vlog. We'll definitely do it as like a how much does it cost to do a Man United triple way, delving into how much you might have to spend on beer, petrol, all that sort of nonsense. And then,
good review in there, George.
yeah, obviously. I'm gonna have to get an Indian, Chinese. I've got to check out the versatility of their pies now.
You got to find us a good local spot in Manchester for when we go down there.
Okay, that's the plan. Hold me to that.
Love it.
Brilliant.
Love it. But guys, before you all click off the video and go and subscribe, go and watch your other videos, which I'm sure you're going to be doing, so please smash a thumbs up on this stream. It does help us out massively. We are trying to grow this YouTube channel at the moment. We're approaching 3K subs. I'm going to hope to be saying with Jack alongside me that we can hit like 10K by the end of the year. That is the goal. But if you guys could all subscribe and like and help us out, that would be mostly appreciated. It's all free to do so. And if you do want to support the channel in any way as well, financially, there is the super chat and the membership option. But as well as doing all that, please do subscribe to George because he's given us an hour of his time tonight. And I think it's been a great stream. But George, we'll definitely have you on again very soon to talk more Ange ball and more transfers, I'm sure. So thanks for coming on, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me on. I'm enjoying it. And it's nice to be smile beaming on my face talking about everything getting done. Normally we have to wait until the 31st before we see any signings, so this is unprecedented times at Spurs right now.
It's weird, isn't it? It's unusual. Normally we're doing these streams on the 30th, like you said. But yeah, look, check out George's vlog on Sunday. Jack, what have we got coming up on our side on the channel?
Walking and talking with Jacko. If you're not bored of me already, you can be even more bored because daily uploads just talking me with my dog Timo Werner, RB Leipzig's old club. But yeah, loads of stuff. Like I do match day vlogs like George, not to the level of his, but I'm sure I'll get there one day. So yeah, a little match day vlog and yeah, same old really, bit of creativity, having a good time with James and yeah, having a good time, all things Tottenham.
There we go. Please do smash like, subscribe to George and those post notifications on so you never miss an upload. Guys, that's all we got time for. We'll see you very soon. And as always, guys, remember,
Go on, you
Spurs!
Come on.